What's up, creepers? Welcome to Phin and Bryn Spoops.
I'm Bryn.
And I'm Phin.
And welcome to day 15.
Sorry, I gotta put something down. Day 15. We watched Halloween 2.
Day 15. I'm getting so tired of these. I'm not getting tired of watching.
Yeah, that's fun.
We're getting burnt out of filming these.
And editing for me.
So yes, we watched Halloween 2.
Sorry, I'm trying to get it so it has more slack and not lifting up my shirt.
Do you want to start over?
No. Punk.
So, Halloween 2 was filmed in 1981. Well, it came out in 1981. It's probably filmed in 1980. And it takes place 3 years. Well, the movie was released 3 years after, but how long is it after the first movie?
An hour.
Not even an hour.
Not even an hour.
Because it starts at the end with the end.
It literally takes place at the end. Like, it even shows the end. It takes place like 3 minutes before the end.
Right. So this is a very long night for poor Laurie. So we have Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasance back. We do see Annie again and the cop. That was in the other one. And we sort of see Annie. It's got 6.5 on IMDb out of 10. I give it a 4 skulls.
Sounds about right.
Yep, I give it a 4 skulls. So it's pretty good for a sequel. It is odd in a sequel that it takes place so close to the other one. So
literally during the other one. It literally starts during the other one.
Keeps it up. And I will say, do you think Jamie Lee Curtis looked a little older?
Which one's Jamie Lee Curtis?
Laurie.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm like, you use names, and I'm like...
Yeah, she did look a little bit older than her high school. Like, she should be, 17 in high school.
You said her hair looked different, but really, they were still using the...
I know. It was just because it didn't look as fluffy at the end there.
You literally said that.
She had a stressful night. She had a very stressful night. So it does start off with the very end scene of Halloween where Loomis actually starts right away with her telling the kids to get out of the house.
Yeah, that's when it
Tommy
starts.
and Lindsay, and they go running out of the house screaming. And
he uses the same cuts and stuff, and
and she sits down, and Michael uses his core strength. Sits up, and goes back after Laurie. Loomis, he shoots Michael 6 times. Boom in the chest.
He's fallen off the balcony, but it looks like he's level with like the bars there. Like, what are they called?
The railing.
The railing, because he walks back and it looks like he's stepping on the railing. I think they made some decisions for the stunt man. Yeah, he literally walked over the. It looks so weird.
It does look weird. If we can find a picture, we will put it right here and show you how weird it looks, okay?
It's just him just walking on it.
And if not, then I'm doing that for nothing.
Yep. You're probably doing that for nothing.
So Loomis
I don't think someone's got that exact
I bet you people have noticed. Not just you, sir.
I know, but why would they just put it on like a Google?
So Donald Pleasance plays Dr. Loomis, and he's back, and he tells the cops that he shot Michael 6 times and that he's not human. He's not human. Which you should have known because you're his doctor.
What, you did tests just shooting them?
What? No, it's just he said that because Michael got up.
Isn't he the psychiatrist?
He's still his doctor.
Why would he know?
What do you mean, why would he know? If he's not human, he would know because he gets all of the reports, health reports and everything.
Not all.
Well,
spoiler alert.
Yeah, we're just going to spoil the hell out of this because this is a movie that came out the same year my husband was born. So, if you haven't seen it,
I already just counted down.
And you just didn't have Halloween in the 90s because it was always playing on Halloween in the 90s. Let's see. So, Mrs. Elrod is making the neighbor to Laurie's house, or Tommy's house, where the attacks took place. She's making a sandwich and watching the news, and breaking news. 3 people have been found murdered in Haddonfield, and she's making the sandwich, and she comes into the kitchen. She leaves the knife, and she comes out of the kitchen to go see what her husband wants on his sandwich, and watches a little bit of the report. And when she comes back, well, you can see behind her.
Well, yeah, the whole time
he walks in right behind her, takes the
like that confidence. He's just like
takes the knife, leaves some blood on her ham, and
he's just like yoink, bye.
Maybe he had some ham.
So chill.
But he does not kill Mrs. Elrod. But she starts screaming when she sees the blood on the cutting board, and the neighbor girl next door, she comes out, Alice, she comes out and she was like, "Why are you screaming, Mrs. Elrod?" And she goes back inside because nobody's answering her, and she's like, "Whatever." She goes back inside and gets on the phone with her friend, and she was like, "I think he's beating her or something because she's yelling for nothing." And then Alice,
quick to assumptions.
She notices. Oh yeah, I did forget to say that when Michael came in and he took the knife, I said cha-cha real smooth.
Because he just walks in, he like, that confidence, he's just like.
Yes, he does have a 20-something man's confidence, which he is, so.
What's that 20 man's confidence like?
So, he kills Alice.
Heck.
I don't know, maybe he likes younger
Body
girls.
count 1.
Body count 1. And if you're counting for, like, if we're gonna leak a rundown for the whole night, it's body count 4.
So 1.
3 in the first one.
3 in the first one.
And
so I'll put total on your side 4. And then body count for just this one.
Mm-hmm. So Lori's getting taken out by the ambulance drivers, the EMTs, and one of them is Lance Guest, one of my big crushes when I was a child. He played the last Starfighter. Love you, Lance. So he is the EMT. And him and his name is Jimmy, and him and Bud load Lori into Jimmy and Bud, and loads him into the
Jim.
Stop. Loads him into the ambulance.
Like,
what's wrong with you?
I don't know why. It's just Jim.
Loads them into the ambulance and takes her to the hospital, which seems really empty. The hospital seems really.
I like saying
really
Jim. Can you continue? You interrupted me before. Punk.
Go ahead. They get to the hospital. What happens?
What happens? What happens?
She begs them not to put her to sleep.
That was in the ambulance.
She begs them not to put her to sleep when they're actually putting her to sleep. They had to sew up her arm because she got stabbed. So.
But I thought they didn't put you under when you did
She
stitches.
needed to be sedated because it was a mess. Her arm was a gross mess. So, and plot device. So she gets sedated. So Loomis and the cop are outside, and he thinks he sees Michael walking around. Somebody in like a similar mask as Michael. Not same outfit, really.
No, same outfit.
Sort of. I don't think it was exactly the same. Anyways.
The hair was different. That's like the only thing I noticed.
Loomis was going to shoot this kid, but a cop comes pulling up and plows into him, and he like smashes into a van and
explodes.
The car explodes for no reason. And burns this person that they think is Michael. And another cop pulls up and comes out, and he tells the sheriff, "Oh my God, they found 3 bodies, and one of them was Annie, was the sheriff's daughter. We told you last time that her dad was the sheriff." And he finds out that his daughter's dead, and he's like, "You did this!" to Loomis, and he's like freaking out, and Loomis is like, "It wasn't me." And he leaves, and now we have a new cop to deal with because that cop's upset, of course. His daughter is dead, and I don't know, maybe the other guy wasn't under contract. Don't know. So the Jimmy, Lance Guest, goes and checks on Lori and makes sure she's okay. And they show Annie's body. The cops blame Loomis. You know, her throat's more cut than it was in the original. I remember when she was getting choked in the car, and then he cut her throat, but you didn't really.
There was no blood.
Yeah,
there was no blood in the original.
Cut this time. So.
Oh, sorry. I actually just conked my.
And Michael is still out walking around amongst the trick-or-treaters. Loomis demands to have a dentist taken to where that body's going because everybody's like, oh, he's dead. And Loomis is all, we don't know if that was him because he's all burnt up. Plot device, car explosion. So he said, you need to get a dentist down to the coroner's office. So Jimmy tells Lori that it was Michael Myers who tried to kill her. And she was like, from the Myers house? And he's like, that one. The phones are down at the hospital, so they go and ask Mr. Oh, what's his name? Mr. Garrett? Mr. Garrett!
Which one's Mr. Garrett?
The rent-a-cot. Yes, they go ask Mr. Garrett to go check it out because the phones are down. Michael loves cutting phone lines.
And I'm just imagining him just climbing up and be like, snip, snip, snip.
I think it's not, I don't think it's, you don't have to climb. So the rent-a-cop goes outside to look around, and what jumps out at him from the garbage?
Cat.
Meow!
Cat count 1.
Cat count 1.
It's gonna take a lot of editing, and I'm tired. Sorry, Seth.
So this was actually a thing that they did a lot in the 70s and early 80s, was use a cat to jump out at you. So, whatever.
Apparently there's a lot of homeless cats.
Yeah, so then he goes and checks so Mr. Garrett, our rent-a-cop, he goes and checks the storeroom and it's been broken into, and he tries to tell the candy striper that the storage shed has been broken into, the storage room has been broken into, but she doesn't know how to use a walkie-talkie because reasons.
Plot device. Also, you said she's a
candy striper, a volunteer.
Exactly.
So
But
he's telling her
easy
that they
to
need
do,
to call the cops and she can't hear him. So Michael kills him with a hammer to the head. Boom.
Like the back of the hammer just burp.
So body count 2.
No, you're doing 5.
I'm 5?
Your total 2. Say your number 2.
5?
There you go. Don't hold it so high.
You want me to do it lower? I can't do it much lower
There you
than that.
go. There. So I have room to put in the title.
Okay, so that hammer to the head took out Mr. Garrett, the rent-a-cop.
Oh no.
The dentist is looking at the body and he can't be sure. He just thinks that it's a young man, but he can't be sure that it's Michael's, and it's going to take a lot longer to figure it out. So the cops go back out looking for Michael.
Just in case.
People are outside the Myers house. There's a whole bunch of people having pitchfork party, and they're throwing things at the Myers house and
Mostly rocks through the windows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looked like a lot of extras just standing around.
Just
And then Loomis pontificates for way too long about Michael's patience, waiting for tonight. It goes on for a while. Bud meets up with his girlfriend Karen, who's another nurse. Bud is the other ambulance driver, and he's super skeezy, and I always hated him. Even when I was a little kid, I was like, I'm skeezed out by that guy. Anyways, he's making out with Karen in a patient's room. It's an empty room, but it looks like just a hospital room on the bed. And then they decide to go where?
What's it called?
The therapy room?
Yeah.
What's in the therapy room, Phin?
Hot tub.
Let's say it for them.
Hot tub.
There's a hot tub in the therapy room. So,
Skinny dependent hot tub.
go ahead.
The whole scene. Okay. So he's in the hot tub now. She's stripping.
We get a...
Well, not yet. She's stripping.
She's stripping.
She comes in and you get the bobs. What?
Bobs.
Yeah, that's bob count 1 for mom, right?
Yep, we get our boob shot because it's like in
Staple.
John Carpenter's.
It's just a staple.
Yeah.
And then
make
she's
out.
in there.
It's too hot.
And then it's getting hot, and you get to see Michael in the back, and then he heats it up,
What's
and
he
then
doing?
just turning it up.
Yeah.
The heat, and then she gets out. She gets out, and she makes him.
go check.
They both get out,
Yeah, they do.
and he goes checks, and it's hot, and he's like, huh.
You can
And then,
see.
so she's just drying off, and you get bobs again.
You get a lot of bobs in this scene.
And she puts on a towel, and then you see Michael just killing him.
I don't even know how he killed Bud. I don't know how.
I just remembered Bud was nude.
Yeah.
No, wait, no, he had a towel. You don't just kill a man in his towel.
then Michael comes up behind Karen.
Yeah.
And pretends to be. Give me your hand.
It's just like on the shoulder.
Doesn't she like
nom?
Kisses his hand.
No, he noms his hand. It's weird.
It's Michael's hand,
and then she looks back.
I'm sorry, but I have to get back to work.
And then she turns around and she did all that, and Michael just let it happen. He's just like.
Meanwhile,
and then he kills her.
How does he kill her, Phin?
Oh, burns her face in the water.
He throws her face in the scalding water, but it's not burning him.
He's Michael Myers. Who cares?
Whatever.
He has his healing thing. Remember?
It's not burning. It's not scalding his hand though. Okay, whatever. So he's dunking her in, and you get lots of bob shots and face. What would you say? You tell them what you hated about it.
The skin flapping thing. I hated that.
It was gross. So now we're up to body count 4 in this movie. So that would be 7.
4.
Okay. Well, are you doing the original one?
You're doing the original one.
Okay. So we're up to 7 total for the night, and 4 for the movie.
That's a lot of kills already. One night. Michael's having the time of his life.
The cops say, "Oh, there's been a break-in at the elementary school." So they take Loomis over to the elementary school, and there's like a picture of like a family, and then a knife through the daughter. And on the board it says Samhain, and it's driving me crazy that Donald Pleasance keeps saying Samhain. And it's not pronounced Samhain, but whatever. It's written in blood in the back on the blackboard, and he goes into this big long explanation, but it was just a big plot device, and I think it was because John Carpenter really wanted to use Donald Pleasance more. He didn't get a lot of play in Halloween, so you get a lot more play in this one, and I was just like, ugh, I'm so bored.
Is this one is showing Michael going to the hospital now? Is he going to the hospital now?
Well, obviously he's at the hospital.
No.
He just killed the nurse in bed.
Then we miss a whole part where he's like...
Oh, well, who cares?
With the walking.
Some lady shows up. Some lady shows up and she tells Dr. Loomis that he needs to go back to the hospital immediately because he done effed up. And and there's a marshal waiting outside for him, and he's like complaining, I don't want to go. But, he gets in the car anyways because he's a good guy, Donald Pleasance, Dr. Loomis. So he gets into the car and they leave, and Jimmy tells Lori she's all passed out, or she had these like weird dreams about her mom saying that she wasn't hers, and then she remembered some boy in a hospital, and she's like, and then Jimmy comes in and he's like, I'll protect you, and then he realizes that she's like just catatonic, like she's freaking out. So he goes to go get the doctor. He tells a nurse to go get the doctor. And the nurse goes in to go get a doctor, and so the nurse goes to find the doctor to check on Lori because they think that she's having a bad reaction to the meds, to the sedation.
Yep.
And so they go, and he's got his back to them in his office, and he's facing the fish tank. So what happens next?
She turns him around, and he has a syringe in his eye. I hate it. Thanks, I hate it.
But she's standing there like freaking out, and then...
Behind her, and you can see his face come out of the darkness. Michael Myers.
What's he do to her?
Grabs her, and then through the temple, he puts in like a needle.
A hypodermic needle. Gives her an embolism. I think he pushes some air into there. So that's 2 more down. So that's what, 9? 6 and 9.
6 and 9. 6 and 9. 69. Nice.
I need you to edit that out.
Why?
Okay, so
why?
Because it's sexual. Okay, so Michael goes to Lori's room, and she has tricked him. What has she done?
She had put pillows to replace her body, and he's just like, hey, I got you now. Oh wait, it's a pillow. Oh no.
So she's wandering the hospital halls all doped up and limping because what happened? Why is she limping?
Because she rolled her ankle, broke her ankle.
When she got thrown off of the railing?
She fell off the railing. She didn't even go through. She just walked back into it.
In the first movie, she hurt her ankle. So
I hate stairs. I hate it.
Continuity matters, people. she still has a hurt ankle.
I still hate falling downstairs, especially in Z.
I know. So she hides in another patient room, and I think she passes out. Loomis leaves with the lady and the marshal, and the nurse goes looking for the security guard, and she runs into Jimmy, and Michael is in the room listening to their plans. He says, you get into your car and go get a sheriff, because the phones are dead and there's nobody around, and he's like, I'm going to go find Lori, you go get the sheriff. So she goes out into the parking lot. And Michael's listening to all of this, by the way. You can see him down the hallway. No, he's in the other. Yeah. He's in the room behind the changing screen. So then she goes out into the parking lot.
All the tires are popped.
And none of the cars are starting. So I'm thinking he might have taken the distributor cap off of all of the.
Just like Michael is like, haha, popping tires go burr.
So she can't get out. So
she can just walk.
Yeah. Okay, so then Jimmy finds the head nurse, which we didn't see her death, but he walks in and she's laying on a gurney, and she has had something inserted into her. She's got a tube inserted into her
and all her
vein,
blood's drained.
He looks, and he is standing in a pool of all of her blood. All of her blood.
He freaks out and goes slip.
He freaks out. He tries to leave, and it's my favorite scene in the whole movie. He slips in the blood and knocks his own ass out. I love it.
He's just like, he's like,
So,
whoa.
with the head nurse, that is 7 for this movie.
And no, you're 10.
I know.
10.
So that's 7 for this movie.
7.
And 10 for both
Total.
movies together.
Itch.
For the night. The nurse leaves to go to the cops, and her tires are they're slashed. That's what we said. The nurse sees Lori down the hall when she comes back in. She sees her way down the hall, and Lori's all doped up, and she's like, Lori, and she's pretty far from Lori, but she can see her. And what happens? Michael comes in behind her and stabs her in the back with a scalpel and lifts her up, and her shoe falls off and drops her. So
you paid attention to the show? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, Lori sees it.
You noted that?
Yes. No, I didn't note it. I just remember it. Lori sees all of this and she runs. So that's 8 for this movie and 11 for the night.
8, 11.
So Lori runs to the hospital. She finds the body of Mr. Garrett and screams, and Michael finds her, and then Lori crawls out a window and into a storeroom.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention. Was she inside and then crawls through a window and into another inside?
She's inside, yeah.
Windows usually go outside.
It can also go to the other rooms.
Whatever.
She lands on a bunch of glass.
Yes, and
bottles.
She tries to crawl out of the room, and Michael comes through, and he's walking on all of this glass, and it's crunch, 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 and she's pushing the elevator button, and it's the world's slowest
elevator.
Can you look at them?
Slowest door, elevator.
It's the world's slowest elevator. So he's like coming really slow, and it's driving Phin crazy because he walks so slow.
I'm like, it would make your job a lot easier if you just took like slightly bigger strides. You could just be like,
so she gets into the elevator just in the nick of time because it closes on his hand, and he pulls it out, and then the door shuts and comes up, and she goes running out of the hospital, and all of the tires are slashed, of course. So she hides in a car, she hunkers down in the front seat. Loomis bitches about being taken back. He's still in the car with the sheriff, with the marshal and the lady, and then she tells him that he doesn't have all the information that he thought he had on Michael. Oh,
Lori's his sister.
You're gonna have to say it a little louder than that.
Lori's his sister.
Lori was adopted by another family. Lori is Michael Myers' sister.
So apparently he just wants to murder his family because they said that his parents were
15-year anniversary of his first sister's death, so this is a new one.
Yeah, he's just like,
and she's the same age as Judith. And she's the same age as Judith. Yeah. Maybe he was waiting.
It's just like, murdering's fun. Why do I take out my entire family? Life goals.
So now he demands to, he's like, oh my God, he's really after Lori. So Loomis is like, you're going to take me back. And the marshal's like, I'm not taking you back. And then Loomis is like, this is what you Americans do, right? And he pulls a gun on him.
Yeah, and
he was like, take me back right now. And then he's like, oh, isn't it what you guys do as a warning shot?
Yeah, he's like, what do they do in the movies?
they fire a warning shot, right? And shoots through the window, and then the cop's like, okay, that's all you need to say. And just turns around.
Donald Pleasance has had it.
He's just like, okay, good enough for me.
So Jimmy gets into the car that Laurie is hiding in, and he just looks stunned and shocked, and
Youchers in the back of the head.
he passes out and hits his head on the horn. So now they're telling Michael exactly where they are. So Laurie falls out of the car, and Loomis's car shows up.
She's like,
help, help.
and then they make it in, and she's like, help!
Yeah,
they
don't hear her. They go into the hospital because they don't see her in the parking lot. And they don't hear her. They go into the hospital, and so she runs up to the hospital door.
And she's just...
And the door is what, Ben?
Locked.
We don't know how the door got locked because none of those people had keys. The door's locked. She can't get in.
And then Michael's walking up, and she's like...
She's pounding on the door, and Michael's right behind her, and it's getting very tense because he's getting closer and closer and closer, and Loomis lets her in.
And there's no point because then Michael just walks through the door.
Loomis shuts the door behind her, and Michael walks through the glass door.
He literally just casually just doop.
So Loomis shoots him 6 more times. That's 12 bullets tonight if you're playing at home, folks. So Loomis sends the women. He sends the women out to go to get on the radio for the marshal, and she goes out to the car to get to the radio, and the marshal's like, "Hey, she can't use that. That's mine." And he was like, "Just go do it." And he tells the marshal, "Don't touch him. Don't touch him." And he's like, "He's dead." And then he checks him anyways, and Michael kills him. Yeah. And Loomis and Laurie run. So that's body count 9 for this movie. 12? 12 for the night. 12 for the night.
Time of his life.
So I'm saying he's out of bullets. So Loomis and Laurie, they are backed into a corner in a hospital, like it's an operating room, and he starts shooting at Michael, and he has no bullets. Because I called it earlier, but he wasn't apparently listening to me. And
well, he already gave Laurie a gun.
Yeah. So they start opening the.
Well, first.
Oh, she shoots him.
She's in the eyes.
She shoots him in the eyes.
She's a good shot, apparently.
And he can't see, so he's like swiping at her with a scalpel or a knife.
Why didn't he just go to the corner where he knows where she is?
Drama.
And then he's like, "Oh, there's something there. Okay."
So they're opening up the oxygen tanks, and he's swiping, trying to find Laurie because he's blind. And then he's like,
"She's been in the corner.
Who cares?
Why doesn't he
Who cares, Finn? Who cares?
I care."
Loomis is like, "Get out!" And she runs out, and then he lights. Go ahead, you can finish it.
He lights. So he takes out a lighter. It's like, "It's your time."
What's he say?
Like, "It's your time" or something. It's like, it's your time.
It's your time.
It's your time, Michael. And he flips the letter and go.
Yeah, he says, "It's time, Michael."
That's right.
Yep.
Yay.
So he blows them up. So if you count Loomis.
Well, that's not one of Michael's kills.
Yeah, it's not one of Michael's kills. Loomis did it himself. So 12 total. 12 total. For the night, 9
kills.
Yeah, 12
and then 9 for the new one. And then if you want a body count, then it's 13
14
and...
if you count Judith also.
How did Judith?
For total. Judith was when he was little. So from the 2 movies together, 14 people died. So that's a lot. The sun comes up and everybody's happy.
That means it's 10 for just the second movie. He's having the time of his life.
We still have to talk about Bly Manor.
God, and we should probably cut.
Yes. Okay, so we still need to talk about the episode 6 of The Haunting of Bly Manor. This was mostly about Henry and Flora.
Mostly Henry, it seemed.
Huh?
Mostly Henry.
Yeah, their Uncle Henry, the one that refuses to live at Bly Manor and barely is so hands off about his relationship with the kids. Danny keeps calling him and asking him to come and help, or she wants to talk to him, and he's not calling her back. It's rude. It's rude. So what did we find out this one? We've got, he does have a ghost, Henry, right? Yes, he's got a very creeper ghost. Of his own, it's himself. It's himself, and it's really creepy. Henry Thomas is doing an amazing job as their uncle, and You guys might remember that, he played Elliot in E.T., and I love him, but holy my gosh, it's really scaring me. The face that he makes when he's his own ghost, it's really awful. He was there the night Flora was born, and we find out that Flora might be his. We're not sure. Math works out that it's his, that she's his, right? Yeah. Flora's having some problems. She's having some of the same problems that Hannah is having, where she's untethered to time. She keeps floating back to remembering when she found this little boy ghost in their house.
With no face?
With no face. And her uncle...
Is he a ghost, though?
Her uncle/dad advises her to give him a story. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She does eventually...
Because he had a...
She does eventually...
He had a person in that house. He said it was a soldier that we saw in the previous episode.
So Flora keeps flipping back through time, and she keeps saying, I was littler, I should be littler, because she's remembering stuff when she was 5.
But
she's missing time, yeah? So we don't know if it's Rebecca that is taking over for her when she's missing time, or...
We think it's Rebecca.
You think it's Rebecca, I think she's dead. So...
I think also Rebecca's taking her body when she's out of her body.
I don't know. It's very confusing right now. Danny and Jamie hook up.
Oh, it's definitely Rebecca. I just realized something. I just remembered something
What?
at the end.
Oh.
Remember, she's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and she takes over.
And then she like...
Touches her.
Doom.
Yeah.
And then and Flora runs off with Miles. Or was it Miles?
Yes, Danny and Jamie have hooked up. I'm happy.
There's this whole monologue
Yes.
about like these moonflowers.
Yes, they hook up and they're
monologue.
together now. And I'm happy. But at the end of this episode, Henry is going. Why is he going? I can't remember. What's the big emergency? Is it something about Flora?
He's just going.
Yeah, he's drunk, and he's going to be going to the manor, which is very far away, and he's drunk, and
He's driving.
I'm worried that he's going at the same time Jamie is leading. So I'm deeply concerned
Do you
that
think
they're
Jamie's
going to
gonna
crash.
die?
I'm very concerned that they are going to kill Jamie because, and if they do, I'm going to be very upset because that's such a kill your gays trope, and that's really going to upset me. But we will find out tonight, I guess.
Oh, yeah, right. It's just the carrot back there. I just
Anything
remembered.
else happen this episode that you wanted to talk about? The dollhouse, her getting the dollhouse from her uncle.
Yeah.
The kid playing with the dollhouse.
So the reason that
Look at the camera when you say it.
The reason that Miles and Flora's parents went on the trip was because she was cheating with
his brother. And
so
they were going on
she
another
was trying,
honeymoon.
yeah,
Reconnect.
and something happened. We don't
They got
know
in
what.
a car accident, they said, but we don't know.
They said.
They said there was a car accident, but we don't know exactly
didn't
what
hear
happened.
that.
I guess we'll find out later.
I think this could be a car accident again.
I don't know. But we did see Miles, being taken over by Peter Quint again, and he said some pretty bad swear words, young man.
That kid is a good actor.
He is. He's a really, really good actor. So we also, we've noticed a few things about Rebecca and Flora that makes us think that, sure, yeah, she's definitely possessing Flora also.
To talk with
Which is creepy
Peter.
because Peter and Rebecca were a couple, and Miles and Flora are brother and sister. So, yeah. So anyways, we will catch up with you guys tomorrow on episode 7, and we don't know which movie we're going to watch, so that'll be a big surprise. Make sure you go vote and hit like and subscribe down below,
And we'll see you next
later.
time.